37-year-old Kendra Lee Proctor is accused of attempting to kill a 1-year-old child during a disturbing encounter inside a home. At around 10:30 p.m. on Sunday the 18th of January 2026, police responded to a house in the 3500 block of Baltimore Avenue in Indianapolis, Indiana, on a report of a possible assault involving a toddler. When they arrived, they found Kendra, an adult female witness, and the 1-year-old victim. According to investigators, the witness told officers she had walked into a room and found Kendra sitting on the child's face, while unclothed from the waist down. The toddler was screaming, and the witness immediately intervened. In an interview with police, the witness said that after she confronted Kendra told her, "I thought this was what you wanted me to do, and this is what I'm supposed to do." The witness told police that she then pulled Kendra off the child and beat her up in response. The witness said that she and Kendra had been watching a religious-themed movie earlier that night when Kendra suddenly began acting strangely and asking unsettling questions. Moments later, the witness went to check on the toddler and found the alleged assault in progress. Investigators say the witness also told police she believed Kendra had tried to smother the toddler and had made comments about sacrifice. Detectives noted concerns that Kendra may be experiencing symptoms consistent with schizophrenia. During a post-Miranda interview, Kendra allegedly admitted she attempted to kill the child, saying she hoped the witness would retaliate by killing her. When asked to explain further, she reportedly struggled to give coherent answers. Kendra also allegedly acknowledged making statements about wanting to sacrifice the 1-year-old. She was arrested and charged with attempted murder and child molestation involving a child under 14, and remains held at the Marion County Jail without bond. A video game argument between two brothers has turned deadly. At just before 8:30 p.m. on Sunday the 18th of January 2026, officers responded to a home in the 3400 block of Southeast 44th Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, after receiving a 911 call from the residents reporting a stabbing. Investigators say 19-year-old William Spencer and his 25-year-old brother Nicholas Spencer were playing a video game when an argument escalated. According to police, William became angry and stabbed Nicholas. First responders found Nicholas critically injured. He was transported to a local hospital, where he later died. William was arrested at the scene without incident, interviewed by detectives, and booked into the Oklahoma County Jail on a murder charge. Police in Shreveport, Louisiana are investigating a disturbing case involving a hospitalized 5-year-old boy fighting for his life. On Monday the 19th of January 2026, officers were notified that a child had arrived at a local hospital in critical condition. The severity of his injuries immediately raised red flags, and juvenile detectives were assigned to determine how the child had been harmed. Investigators later learnt that the boy had been living at an apartment complex in the 4500 block of North Market Street. At some point while under the supervision of adults, he endured prolonged abuse and significant neglect. Medical staff documented a long list of injuries, including bruising across approximately 60% of his body, a broken wrist, a broken nose, trauma to the genital area, severe malnourishment, multiple knots to his head, scarring on his chest and back, lacerations to both his upper and lower lips, and signs of neglect, including feces and urine on his body and feet. As detectives began interviewing those connected to the child, Shadiamond Prude was taken into custody. She is charged with 2 counts of improper supervision and 1 count of neglect of family. Police have not clarified her relationship to the child. The investigation is still active, and detectives say additional arrests are likely as they continue to follow new leads. Authorities describe this as one of the most severe child abuse cases they have encountered. They emphasise that the victim is a young child in critical condition, and they intend to hold every responsible person fully accountable. A man is accused of sexually abusing his stepdaughter for several years while her mother allegedly knew about it. On the 2nd of January 2026, deputies responded to a home on Murphy Hill Road in Belton, South Carolina, after a 14-year-old girl called for help. Investigators say 38-year-old Andrew Joseph Martin abused the girl for years and pressured her to stay quiet. Andrew was arrested and charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct with a minor and remains held at the Oconee County Jail. Deputies also arrested 35-year-old Misty Danielle Norris, who investigators say admitted she knew about the ongoing abuse. She's charged with accessory and unlawful child neglect. The investigation is ongoing, and further charges are expected. A man is behind bars after allegedly abusing a juvenile female family member. On the 28th of December 2025, deputies responded to a home in the 1300 block of Lambs Grove Road in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, on a report of a sexual assault of an 11-year-old girl that same day. Following an extensive investigation, 50-year-old Robert Earl Lewter was arrested on the 9th of January 2026. He is charged with multiple felony offences including statutory rape of a child by an adult, statutory sex offence with a child by an adult, indecent liberties with a child and incest. He was booked into the Pasquotank County Jail, where he remains held without bond. Officials say the child is safe and is currently in the care of family members. The investigation is ongoing. 33-year-old Stacy Gilbert is behind bars after allegedly throwing boiling water on a 2-year-old and a 13-year-old boy. At around 1:15 a.m. on Tuesday the 20th of January 2026, authorities responded to a home in the 3800 block of Maverick Creek Road in San Antonio, Texas, after receiving a 911 call reporting injured children. When officers arrived, they found both boys suffering from significant burn injuries across multiple areas of their body. Emergency crews transported them to a nearby hospital for treatment. According to investigators, Stacy allegedly became angry for reasons that remain unknown. Police say she entered the boys' bedroom and threw boiling water on them while they were inside. The relationship between Stacy and the two children has not been confirmed. Stacy was arrested and charged with 2 counts of injury to a child, one for recklessly causing bodily injury and one for intentionally causing bodily injury. She was booked into the Bexar County Jail, where she remains held on a $30,000 bond. If released, she is prohibited from possessing firearms. Detectives noted that the investigation is ongoing and additional charges are possible. Records show Stacy has prior criminal history, including charges of abandoning a child, child endangerment, and deadly conduct in 2020, as well as assault causing bodily injury and making terroristic threats in 2021. A man is behind bars accused of fatally stabbing his boyfriend and attempting to conceal the body. At 8:26 a.m. on Tuesday the 20th of January 2026, investigators responded to the 2800 block of West Baltimore Street in Baltimore, Maryland, after receiving a report of a body in the water. Officers and firefighters recovered an adult male who was pronounced dead at the scene. Detectives noted visible signs of trauma. The victim was identified as 33-year-old Dashond Johnson. Baltimore homicide detectives later arrested Dashond's boyfriend, 30-year-old Eric Jones, in connection with the fatal stabbing. Investigators confirmed the two lived together. At this stage, authorities have not identified a clear motive, and no additional details have been released regarding what may have led to the violence. According to charging documents, a neighbour called 911 after witnessing a man stumble out of a residence on Bernice Avenue, clutching his chest and repeatedly shouting, "Oh my God." The witness reported that the man collapsed between 2 parked cars. Moments later, she observed another man, believed to be Eric, lift the victim, place him into a cart, and wheel him toward a nearby alley. The same witness told investigators that the following day, she saw the man scrubbing the steps outside the home. Investigators allege Eric transported Dashond's body to a wooded area along Gwynns Falls Trail, where it was concealed beneath stones. Court documents state that the body had first been placed inside a suitcase before being moved. Police say Eric later confessed and directed detectives to the location. Inside the residence, authorities reported finding evidence of blood that had been cleaned from multiple areas, including a bedroom, the living room, and the front doorway. Eric was taken into custody and transported to the Central Booking Intake Facility. He's charged with first and second degree murder. The investigation is ongoing. A woman and a man are behind bars after allegedly breaking into the woman's ex-boyfriend's home in Joliet, Illinois, and attacking several people inside. Acaiya, Whitehead and Javon Jimerson, both 19, are charged with home invasion and criminal trespass to a residence. Acaiya is also charged with domestic battery and battery. At around 9 a.m. on Sunday, the 18th of January 2026, Joliet police responded to a home in the 1800 block of Delrose Street after receiving a report that a woman had broken into the residence. Inside the home were a 20-year-old man, a 37-year-old woman, a 60-year-old woman and 2 children under the age of 10. The victims told officers they had been asleep when loud knocking and screaming erupted at the front door. According to investigators, Acaiya, the ex-girlfriend of the 20-year-old man, forced her way inside by damaging the door frame. Once inside, Acaiya allegedly attacked the residents, prompting them to fight back. One victim used a baseball bat in self-defense. Javon reportedly entered the home during the incident, but did not participate in the physical altercation. The male victim and Javon eventually pulled Acaiya out of the house, after which both suspects fled before officers arrived. The victims told police that Acaiya was upset over money she believed was owed to her. They sustained minor injuries, while the children were unharmed. Surveillance footage reviewed by investigators allegedly showed Acaiya breaking into the home. She was also seen carrying an object resembling a rifle as she approached the door. Police said Javon took the object from her and placed it in their vehicle. The pair later claimed it was a toy. Officers later located both suspects at Acaiya's residence, about 6 miles away in the 25,000 block of Latham Court in Plainfield. Acaiya was taken into custody after a brief struggle, while Javon was arrested without incident. Both were transported to St. Joseph Hospital in Joliet for evaluation and treatment of minor injuries related to the incident, then released to police custody and booked into the Will County Jail. The investigation is ongoing. A 29-year-old man is behind bars accused of killing his 87-year-old grandmother inside her home. At 3:08 p.m. on Tuesday, the 20th of January 2026, dispatch received a 911 hang-up call from a residence at 1018 22nd Avenue in Fairbanks, Alaska. The caller, identified as Brian Davenport, provided the address but did not respond to questions. Responders found Brian pacing in the roadway and determined he was not safe to care for himself, so he was transported to the hospital. At 3:45 p.m, dispatch received a second call reporting a deceased female at the same address. Responders entered the residence and found 87-year-old Velma Kuntz deceased in a wheelchair with a gunshot wound to the back of her head. Velma's husband, Keith Kuntz, reported that he'd gone to the store and returned to find his gun outside the home. He moved it inside with a rag. He initially believed Velma had a bloody nose, but upon approaching her, he saw the gunshot wound. At the hospital, Brian stated, "I killed someone." He was detained and transported to the police department. After being read his Miranda rights, Brian allegedly admitted to taking his grandfather's revolver from a nightstand. He said he had planned to kill someone else, but changed his mind. He stated that he walked behind Velma while she was in a wheelchair, pulled the hammer back and shot her in the back of the head. Brian said he wanted Velma to go peacefully and did not want her to worry about her legacy. He compared his actions to pulling the plug on someone in hospital. Detectives confirmed that Velma had intestinal cancer and was under hospice care. Brian acknowledged that killing someone is wrong. He stated that Velma had not expressed any fear about her legacy or dying peacefully. Brian was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. He remains held at the Fairbanks Correctional Centre without bail. A man is behind bars for allegedly fatally shooting his ex-girlfriend and injuring her co-worker inside a medical lab. At just after 12:45 p.m. on Thursday, the 15th of January 2026, police responded to the 5200 block of 4th Avenue Circle East in Bradenton, Florida, where they found 2 victims inside the facility. One woman had fatal injuries, the second was rushed to the hospital. The woman who died was identified as 29-year-old Myshaela Burnham. 29-year-old Keith Roberts Jr., a security guard at Manatee Memorial Hospital, was arrested a short time later. Investigators say Myshaela and Keith had recently ended a long-term relationship, and they believe the breakup may have been a contributing factor. According to authorities, Keith entered the lab through an unlocked employee door he was familiar with. He was armed with a shotgun and a handgun. Myshaela was seated at a desk when he approached her. Investigators say he walked directly to her workstation and opened fire at close range. A co-worker seated at an adjoining desk only a few feet away was also struck. The surviving victim underwent surgery and is now in a stable condition, though officials say her recovery will be lengthy. After the shooting, Keith fled in his vehicle. Witnesses provided a description of his car, allowing deputies to locate and stop him roughly 25 minutes later. Police said he made statements indicating he understood why he was being detained. Multiple employees remained on scene and provided immediate information, which authorities say helped lead to the quick arrest. Keith is charged with first-degree murder with a firearm and attempted first-degree murder with a firearm. He remains in custody ahead of a pre-trial detention hearing scheduled for the 23rd of January. The investigation is ongoing. Police are investigating after a woman was fatally shot during an altercation outside a Houston, Texas apartment. At around 8 p.m. on Friday, the 16th of January 2026, officers responded to reports of a shooting at an apartment complex in the 6200 block of West Tidwell Road. When they arrived, they found a woman with a gunshot wound. She was transported to hospital in a critical condition and later died. The victim was identified as 37-year-old Shyta Campbell. According to police, multiple people were arguing outside the apartment unit. The confrontation moved toward the front door before shots were fired, fatally striking Shyta. Neighbours reported hearing about 30 gunshots during the incident. 3 children, a 6-year-old boy, a 6-year-old girl and an 8-year-old girl were inside the residence at the time. Police say none of them were injured. They also confirmed Shyta did not live at the residence and the children were not hers. In the hours following the shooting, officers detained a woman who was later released. A man was taken into custody at around 2 a.m, though police have not publicly identified any suspects. The circumstances leading up to the argument and the shooting remain unclear, and the investigation is ongoing. Shyta was a mother of 3. Her family described her as quiet, loving and someone who largely kept to herself. They also shared that she had previously endured the loss of a 19-year-old son who died the year before. California firefighter 45-year-old Andrew Jimenez is behind bars after he allegedly bludgeoned his wife, 55-year-old Mayra Jimenez, to death with an axe inside their North Hollywood home. At around 4 a.m. on the 10th of January 2026, Andrew approached officers at the Los Angeles Police Department station, saying he couldn't reach Mayra, and requested a welfare check at their home on the 5600 block of Satsuma Avenue. When officers arrived, they found Mayra unresponsive with multiple blunt force trauma. Paramedics pronounced her dead at the scene, and an axe was recovered from the residence. According to investigators, Andrew later told detectives he read an entry in Mayra's diary that he believed indicated infidelity, and moments later he allegedly fatally attacked her. Mayra was a 3rd grade teacher at Wilshire Park Elementary School, known as a caring educator and active union representative. She was also an ordained minister. The couple married in 2014. Neighbours said they were shocked, noting they had never seen signs of conflict between the pair. Andrew, a Glendale firefighter since 2008 who had recently been promoted, is being held on a $2 million bail. He faces 1 count of domestic violence murder and could receive 26 years to life in a California state prison if convicted.